protein is our topic today, Gemma.
Yep, very topical subject. Lots of proteins absolutely everywhere, but yeah, we're going to break it down and hopefully provide a bit of a different insight on it today.
We were just talking before we came on about the most important messages that we want to get through around protein. And we said that we want people to understand what their protein need is. We want them to understand the importance of protein quality, protein distribution, its role and function, but that protein needs to be more than just a word or something that is just connected with performance and weight loss, and that it needs to sit in a very practical and a very functional and a very meaningful way in people's mind. And that we are, at this moment, I feel, we have got the potential for protein to become almost like, the wallpaper effect, where you hear or see it so often that you become indifferent to it. So how maybe let's start by going through what we just said in terms of protein need, quality, distribution, function.
Well, protein is an essential macronutrient. Its function, it plays a huge number of functions in the body, but most notably building muscle and repairing lean tissue. So it's when we consume dietary protein, it's broken down into amino acids. They're important for the build-up of lots of different cells and tissue in the body. We consume it from a variety of sources like meat, fish, dairy products, eggs, important for building muscle and repairing tissues and cells in the body.
And I will throw in for people who are vegetarian and vegan, of course, there's the plant sources of protein, and there's complete and incomplete sources as well. So we know a very practical example, and our vegetarian listeners will know that combining things like your whole grains and your rices with pulses and beans and things like that and nuts and seeds, you can create complete protein sources that way. But animal sources are the most efficient in terms of dose in getting our protein need and hitting our protein requirements. And I suppose then you often, and I noticed there's this very slight difference in messaging from you on protein need. I just tend to round up, but you're very much on the evidence side when you talk about 1.6 to 2 grams of protein per kilo of body mass daily.
Yeah, I tend to, because of, I suppose, especially with athletes, I find that they tend to be on the upper end, and then there is a reduction in carbohydrate needs because they pay such a huge amount of attention to it. So nearly given that bit of an extra space to reduce their protein intake, still meet their needs, and then allow for meeting other important needs like carbohydrates. And to see that it's a range as well, so you don't have to hit the same amount every single day, and know that you've got a bit of a leeway within it too. I think it can help from a mindset point of view too.
I agree. I think the range is important. And I think the context that you just shared for sports people, I think it is very important. So total protein intake, you can do your own calculations there for yourself, 1.6 to 2 grams per kg of body mass. The next important component or theme around protein is the distribution of it throughout the day. And we know that protein distribution helps with a couple of things. It helps with adaptation from exercise. It helps with practically achieving your protein need. It also helps with the way that we enjoy our meals, but the impact of our meals on our energy and the slowing of blood sugar and how we feel as better energized, and also better control around our appetite. I guess the other area then is, as you mentioned, is that function for muscle tissue and providing the amino acids for recovery, for adaptation on exercise, but also the maintenance of muscle mass, particularly if we're in a calorie deficit. So you've mentioned some quality protein sources there, and I think sometimes because it's so in our faces and protein is everywhere, there's protein ice cream and chocolate, I think sometimes we can think about protein in those more processed forms, but it really is about trying to get your protein from functional food sources first.
Definitely, yeah. I think the marketing side of things has just exploded when it comes to protein, and rightly so from an evidence point of view, the importance of it. It has helped with that and helped shape, I suppose, a lot of people's mindsets on the importance of it, but then it becomes so much that they feel like everything has to be protein now. They have to eat something that has protein on the label, and often then when you look at the back of these products, the quality is simply not there as in comparison to consuming it from the likes of whole foods in meals. So yeah, our approach is always choosing high quality protein sources in meals, regular meals throughout the day, because it then presents another opportunity to get other important nutrients on board and develop a healthy approach to just consuming a good, well-balanced diet to support a number of other needs from a health and performance point of view.
We do find on a practical level that a focus on protein really does, and this is why we want to remove this idea of protein just becoming an indifferent topic. It makes such a profound impact consistently on the way people feel when they hit their protein need and how they adapt to exercise and all of those things, that's why we're very action focused and habit focused around it. So if you can find very simple ways to hit your protein need, and sometimes you need to be practical about it. It can be a protein yogurt, or it can be a protein milk, or it can be like my wife, Sandra, boils 6 eggs almost every day. And if we don't have them today, we'll have them tomorrow. And it's that kind of very simple, very functional, very practical approach that makes a big difference. So if you need something quick, protein is the place to go, instead of maybe it's a bowl of cereal, or maybe it's a slice of toast or something where you will be hungry again very quickly if you don't feel that satiety effect, or you feel that kind of, that your appetite, or you've had that feeling of fullness. And protein really does make such a difference to that.
Yeah, I think that's often where people, I suppose, fall down from the snack point of view if they are out and about and they don't know what to grab in the shop. Or so I think that offers a good way to frame like how you're going to pair something, maybe a piece of fruit, along with a protein source that you can find easy enough in a shop if you need to.
I think we've covered most of the kind of the key points around protein. I think we just touch on before we finish, because it is the top of the pyramid when it comes to the question that, and we always get asked about it, and that is protein supplementation. We just give our position on protein supplementation, Gemma.
Yeah, supplementation is what it says. It is something that you can use to supplement a good quality diet. And the likes of whey products, there are ways that we can help ourselves out if we do have a higher protein target or we're not meeting our needs, and that's where supplementation can come in. We can use it in lots of different ways. It doesn't have to be, having a protein shake. Adding it into recipes can make it a really helpful way to hit your protein needs in smoothies and pancakes and your own homemade protein bars. So there's ways that you can make it enjoyable and easy to consume. But yeah, it's not necessary. It doesn't have any additional benefits other than helping you hit the recommendations to support your health and performance.
Yeah, and I think that's an important area just to maybe drill into a little bit more, and that is that it is to help you hit your protein target, and it is practical. It is not superior, and no matter what you see on any label or anything that is marketed to you. And I often get this question as well: do I still take it on non-training days? Well, going back to the primary reason you would use it, are you hitting your protein need on those non-training days? Because each day, whether you're training or not, you still need to hit your daily protein requirement. So it is about that practical way of doing it. Maybe on your recovery days, you need more of a practical solution because of the way that you live your life, because of how busy you are, because of demands. So it's just about that mindset around it. And also just even a reminder, whey protein, it comes from milk. We remove the lactose, most of the lactose. We remove the other casein component of protein and water. And that's what you're left with. And yes, most companies will add some flavor to it, but that's what you're getting. Mm-hmm. So that is protein. I think just to really emphasize, while we have a broad awareness of protein and people are very familiar now with it being something that they need to pay attention to, it's your individual requirement and need and the consistency of it and how it makes you feel that we want to remind you about when it comes to protein intake.